In the not-so-distant future with genetic changes, the natural lifespan of a human has reached 25 years, and there is no possibility of living beyond this period. Time has become a unit of currency. In certain circumstances, if a person is extremely wealthy, they can extend their lifespan infinitely through genetic engineering. However, for the poor, there are not many options available. They must either somehow acquire the money needed to buy more time, or wait until they perish at the age of 25. Every day, when they wake up from sleep, they are given 24 hours. Will wishes that one day when he wakes up, he will have more than 24 hours. Today is his mother's birthday and she will be working until evening. Will says that when she returns from work, they will celebrate together. They can exchange time between them by holding each other's hands. His mother transfers 1 hour for his lunch. Will leaves the house, and a little girl asks for a minute of his time. Will gives her 5 minutes. His friend tells him, "I wish you were like your father." He replies, "I don't like the fight." The prices of everything have increased compared to yesterday. In the streets, some people have died because their time ran out. They realize that their time has been stolen, because it's rare for someone to lose their time in the middle of the day. He works in a factory where their wages are paid by placing their wrists on a time device. As they had overtime that day but haven't received it, they protest to the factory supervisor, who tells them that the time has been allocated. Will and his friends see a person who is drunk and under attack by a group who wants to steal his excess time. Will intends to help him and notices that the man is ready to hand over his time to the thieves. Will saves him from behind the door and hides him in an abandoned building. He asks the reason for the man's arrival in their area and if he's from New Greenwich, to which he replies, yes. The wealthy man asks about his age and he says he is 28. The man reveals he is 105 years old. Will warns him that he'll die if he stays here. The man responds that he wants to die himself. When asked why, he mentions how hard it is to lose loved ones. They die, so we can become immortal. They don't know that no one lives forever. Will inquires about the existence of time zones and why taxes and prices increase every day. The rich man explains that people die to make sure others live. Most people have only 1 day of time. Will is asked what he would do if he had as much time as the man, and he responds that he wouldn't waste it and wouldn't look at it much. When the morning comes, the old man transfers 116 years of his time to Will through their hands, keeping only 5 minutes for himself. When Will wakes up, he realizes the man's intention and reads the message written on the glass, "Don't waste my time." The rich man falls from the bridge, ready to die, but Will arrives late. The cameras on the bridge record the incident. Will visits his friend's house and transfers 10 years of his life to him due to their 10-year friendship. On her way to the bus, his mother finds out that the bus ticket has become expensive and is now for 2 hours. She has only 1.5 hours left. She pleads with the driver, but he refuses. He suggests she walks the 2-hour route. Maybe she'll make it home. Will waits for his mother with a bouquet of flowers at the bus stop. When she realizes what's happening, she starts running, and they reach each other just seconds apart. She ends her time and dies in Will's arms. The timekeepers find the body of the wealthy man and discover his time has been stolen. Will, by paying several months in each zone, reaches Greenwich, and at the entrance to New Greenwich, he pays for 1 year. The driver asks why he came to this area, and Will responds that he wants to take all their possessions back. They need to pay back everything they've taken. The timekeepers, upon watching the camera footage, realize that Will was the thief and that he has left the area. Will checks into a hotel room. In the restaurant, the waiters notice his strange behavior in the area. as he acts quickly and without any guards around, attracting their suspicion. This leads the timekeepers to track and follow him. Will goes to a casino and makes a bet with a wealthy man named Sylvia, wagering around 1,100 years of his remaining time, which was approximately 26 seconds. Sylvia's daughter is present, and they invite him to a party at their house the next day. Will attends the party, but the timekeepers catch up to him and arrest him. During interrogation, he explains the concept of time, but the timekeeper remains skeptical. Will suggests that if they want to recover the lost time, they should take it from the wealthy individuals. The timekeeper argues that his job is to protect time and that the time in question belongs to Will. They took away 1,000 years, leaving only 2 hours for his administrative tasks. The timekeeper mentions Will's father, who tried a similar thing but failed. Will manages to escape by kidnapping Sylvia. She pleads for him to return her, but Will claims that she is the reason for his survival. In the process of escaping, they encounter time thieves, leading to them losing their time as well, leaving Sylvia with only 10 years remaining. Will seeks help from his friend, whose time has been spent in drinking and aging him rapidly, leaving no time for either of them. Will sells Sylvia's earrings for gold and trades them for a couple of days of time. He contacts Sylvia's father, the timekeeper on duty, and offers to release her in exchange for 1,000 years of time in the Greenwich timeline column. However, the timekeeper warns him that he is repeating his father's mistake and creating significant dangers. Together, they return to Will's house. Will explains how his father fought using the tactic of putting his hand on the opponent's hand, allowing them to absorb all the time and then returning it in the last moment, defeating them. His father used to distribute all the time among the people, providing them not only with time, but also hope. The timeline opens, but Sylvia's father refuses to give 1,000 years. Sylvia becomes upset, saying that if her father gives her the 1,000 years, he won't be able to build the buildings. They are left with only 11 hours. Will suggests calling his father and escaping, but Sylvia disagrees. She tells him to fight and take control of time. During the turmoil, the police try to shoot Will, but Sylvia shoots back with a gun, revealing that the time of the timekeeper has run out. Will grants his remaining 4 hours to the timekeeper. With the earrings and 1 day's worth of time taken from the passenger, Will and Sylvia head toward New Greenwich, gaining a little more time. However, time thieves continue their thievery. The police attack Will's house, but they manage to escape and book all the hotel rooms. Later, they find a replacement for the hostage and take the time away from him. Will's time runs out in the process, leaving Sylvia with only 30 minutes remaining. Will says that their actions won't solve anything. They will only make everything expensive. Sylvia asks how much time they need, and Will says 1,000,000 years, which is impossible to obtain. So they should surrender. Sylvia decides to go to her father's building and surrenders to him only. But Will takes her father hostage from behind. Her father asks if he is stealing from him. Will replies that he steals from someone who has stolen before. The code to the vault was Darwin's birthday, because her father believed in evolution, where the stronger always survive. Inside the vault, there was 1,000,000 years, which is not his only asset. Will claims their actions will only prolong the suffering of people and disrupt the system in the wrong zone. Sylvia says they don't want to be eternal and asks Will if he's upset about creating balance. Her father says not to fool himself. People want to be eternal and think they have a chance, but the evidence shows otherwise. For someone to be eternal, many others must die. Will says no one should be eternal, even if it means one person has to die for it. The timekeepers realize that 1,000,000 years have been taken out of New Greenwich, and they issue the order to shoot. They won't let that time leave the zone. People in Biston were waiting for the time. At the last moment, Will gives the time to the people to be distributed in the timeline. Will and Sylvia escape, but the police catch up to them. Will tells the police officer that he had escaped from there before and won't let anyone else escape. The officer says he didn't start the trouble, but that he will set time in motion and protect it. Will asks him to give them some time. Suddenly, the officer realizes his time is almost up and dies. Will and Sylvia each have around 1 minute of time left. They want to give their time to someone so they can go and retrieve time, but no one accepts. At that moment, Will sees a police car and runs into it, gaining 1 day of time. He then runs to Sylvia and gives her the time in the last seconds. Due to the time leaving several zones, they become inaccessible, and people are freely moving in those areas. The current chief of the Timekeepers grants leave to all the Timekeepers. Sylvia and Will continue their work, using a trick to put time into circulation among the people by robbing large banks.